central banker would not be denied.
Rolling this thing?
Oh, yeah.
Look at you. You want me to do it or you want to do it?
Well, now that you've asked all those questions, I don't know if we should. It's Doomcast 64. Who cares? We start the show in a variety of different ways. That's what makes it unique amongst many other things. You can join us live. My name is Doug Owen. And, of course, I'm joined by Charlie McGrath at Doomcast.com/live. Whenever we do this thing, it's been Sunday evenings that we have been able to come together and make this thing happen. So,
You.
Yeah.
You.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's not
How are
ooh,
you,
it's
Doug Owen?
Doom. Hey, I'm good.
Hey, I'm so happy that you're good, and I want to say hello to the Doomer audience. I want to say hello to producer Craig 33. I want to thank everybody for their patience for us getting this out later in the week. I don't like that, but it's worked out that way, and I'll probably get into some personal crap tonight on the program, but it's good to be here, and I'm glad we're pulling out another Doomcast this week.
Yeah, we
might have to do a special. What are you doing Tuesday night? I mean, maybe I don't know what time results are going to be coming in, because obviously it's going to be wackadoodle come Tuesday night, Doug Owen.
So what are some of the big issues there where you live? What are you getting commercials for?
Oh, what are we getting commercials for? Well, for Senate, we have a former Navy SEAL that's a neocon up against an Obama Democrat who helped draft Obamacare. So it is just absolute bitter divide and conquer in Montana right now. But I mean, there's no question which way this state's going to go. I mean, it's going red all the way, and there's such disdain for Congress and Obama right now in my state that there's absolutely no question. And I think the country as a whole is reflecting that. I mean, what are you seeing, Owen?
Oh, they want to build a lot more infrastructure where I live in Austin, Texas. That's what it's about. It's about new railways and other boondoggle projects that probably won't ever come to fruition, other roads that they'll probably end up in the next few years figuring that they'll turn into toll roads. It's been pretty much the same thing here. I mean, we just have massive amounts of growth. We got a governor's election, the governor race. We got Abbott, who is he's just a crony Republican. He's been around. He's one of Perry's, henchmen.
One of his boys.
And we got Wendy Davis, who is the lady that filibustered on reproductive rights and this abortion clinic, basically new medical requirements for abortion clinics. So pretty much, your standard, divide and one policy, one issue politics that don't account for much. And I guess you can talk about reproductive rights and it'll hide the fact that she's just another crony as well as Abbott, more of the same.
It's interesting because I had a conversation with one of my best friends who's my brother-in-law this weekend. In fact, I was with him hunting this morning with my son.
So is he married to your sister?
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And he's 64 years old. I mean, so, my sister's quite a bit older than me. It's my half-sister. And I hope she doesn't hear this. I mean, she's beautiful, but she's quite a bit older than me. But and we sat up last night and we're talking. And he's a really good man. He's a devout Christian, but I say that, but he's not a neocon, which is pretty rare, right? In the Christian community. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. But we had a long talk last night about the direction of the country and a little bit about the divide and conquer rhetoric. And, the nation is so divided right now. And he sees it here in Montana. I see it, throughout the country when I travel and when I talk to, suppliers and vendors and customers throughout the United States and Canada. It is just so completely divided right now. And it's usually, like you just said, it's a divide and conquer method that is based on one or two topics. And it's this illusion that somehow on Tuesday, even if the Senate becomes Republican controlled, that things are going to change for the better. Man, it's it's a pipe dream. It's just not going to happen. I mean, we're going to be.
So does he see that, or is he? Still...
He does see that. He does see that. Yeah, and it's hard sometimes because I'm sure you do the same thing. You start talking to somebody about politics and you overwhelm them. Maybe you know more on the topics than they do, or you're more informed than they are. So if you start coming off as a know-it-all, they'll just shut up and shake their head. So it's kind of hard sometimes to get the true feeling out of somebody. But usually if you just sit back and let them, say what they're going to say, you can gather.
You mean actually listen to people instead of just preaching to them? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I know. That's something that either one of us or neither one of us probably do very well. But I think we both know that's the key to finding out how someone really feels. And it was really nice to sit and talk with them for a few hours and hear that, even through all the right wing, talk media and, the Limbaughs and Hannitys and Becks that are just, building ire on the right versus the liberal media, I guess, building ire on the left, that some people are still getting it, that it's all bull crap. Both sides are corrupt. Both sides are going to continue the same wars, the same lies, the same agenda. It'll just have a different face to it. But all that being said, I still do think that Tuesday is going to be a very interesting night in the country. And there's no doubt in my mind that we'll wake up Wednesday to a Republican controlled House and Republican controlled Senate and anarchy and finger pointing in the Democratic Party.
Anarchy? I mean, come on. I mean, what does that even mean? I mean, I know that there's people like Harry Reid that say the Koch brothers are instituting anarchy, but I mean, is that really anarchy?
No.
$169 million are being spent from donors from the securities and investment industry, the most ever contributed in a midterm election, according to the Center for Responsive Politics data. And the establishment is betting on Republicans, and it goes across the political aisles here. The industry's biggest donor was Paul Singer's hedge fund, Elliott Management, that gave $12.1 million. Among top givers were employees from Ken Griffin Citadel LLC, Soros Funds Management LLC, Goldman Sachs Group, Wall Street's lead over retirees, lawyers, and other groups that have got into commercial banking, J.P. Morgan Chase. So, a lot of these people that, were part of the Dodd-Frank Act with all these new financial regulations are not regulating who's basically buying the Senate. And, it's easy rhetoric. Blame Obama for everything. He's the Antichrist. He's a Muslim, which he probably is. He probably wasn't born in Hawaii. He probably was born in Kenya. But people, just pine over that, not so much because of his politics. They just are not really because of that issue, but because they just dislike him, and it's
or they're whipped up into a fervor because they don't want to self-investigate. Doug Owen, they want to glob on to their party, their church, their whatever community they belong to. They want to just follow that group without looking into truth for themselves. So, it's easy to hate the guy in charge. It was easy to hate Bush. It's easy to hate Obama. But the reality is that things, regardless, are not going to change. They're not going to change for the better for the people of this country. No doubt about it. And you talk a little bit about the control of the banking industry or the financial industry over our Congress. Well, you not only do you see that since 2008. You ran a couple of great stories on the the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Treaty.
Mm-hmm. That's one of them.
You see the influence not only over our government but of corporate interest over global governance at this point that is so much further than it was in 2008, it promises to accelerate even further. Yet we're still sit here we're arguing about these one or two core issues that our group, our party, our friends, our church believes in, and not paying attention to the total takeover of global governance by the same financial industry who collapsed it in 2008, who's spending $169 million in this midterm in order to ensure influence.
Well, sure. Yeah. And I mean, it's good for, business. When you look at firearms, never have so many firearms been sold. Obama's coming for your guns. I mean, he becomes the talking point. He's coming for your retirement.
Back in the news? Is that back in the wheelhouse again? Because I haven't. I thought
no,
last time I checked, AR-15 prices were dropping a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of things dropping. Gold prices, silver prices. Might be a time to get into it. A lot of local GMO fights have been getting squashed by Monsanto, who's also spending millions of dollars this season bankrolling opposition members in Oregon, California, Hawaii, Colorado. Sorry, I'm eating. This is horrible. This is such bad posture.
What are you eating, my friend?
Some popcorn.
Pumpkin pie?
No, that would be great. Sorry about that.
God.
So anyway, yeah, we have a big ag.
Let me ask you one question. Why do you have the munchies right now?
That I didn't get to eat too much, and my wife just made me some, and I was waiting for you, and it just seemed delicious.
It's all right. I'm just busting on you a little bit. Eat your popcorn. Go ahead.
No. I'm good. All right. So anyway, when you look at all of the people being represented, it's really these corporations that, by and large, are putting these people forward and getting you commercials. And unfortunately, people it's so hard for them to not even see past the left-right paradigm, but getting them to believe that you can vote third party. Now, right. the vote's probably rigged. I mean, we saw that with the Scottish referendum. Now there's a new poll out saying, hey, the majority of Scots would have voted now if they knew what was going to happen. They would have voted for freedom and independence. And it's like, no, it's not that there's any difference. It's that those people's votes were changed and they weren't able to vote for independence during that referendum. So it's, the things that are conspiracies or conspiracy theory that, you and I would dare to delve into. You just, open the Wall Street Journal. It's pretty much an admission of, what happened and where the people are at. Yeah.
And the lack of caring is what's really troubling to me, Doug. I mean, what was conspiracy crap, 5 years ago that we would have been just labeled whatever, an idiot, a lunatic. And now it's freaking mainstream. Yeah, okay. we support Al-Qaeda. We invented Al-Qaeda. We supported Al-Nusra. We are the creators of ISIS. We're putting military arms into the Eastern Europe. I mean, the stuff that this would have been.
Oh man, you're going into everywhere I want to go. You're going to everything, but I want to go right here. This is from the 28th. Okay, this isn't a long time ago. This is from the Washington Times. Calibration issue in Maryland voting machine switches GOP picks to Democrat. It's very shocking that this would happen in Maryland, but and the idea that you calibrate this machine. I mean, what does that mean? That it's got an electronic eye that's looking at these, and
how do you calibrate? I mean, you color in a box.
Well, I mean, maybe some of these machines, but it's just damn convenient. And this is just one example. A calibration issue in multiple Maryland voting machines is reportedly switching voters' picks from Republican to Democrat. One of the good things, though, I'll note, sidebar, that people now have cell phones. So when you see real weird things happening, they'll tell you you can't use your cell phone, but you can go in there and record whatever you want. Right. They're not happy about it. This thing just popped up a huge ad. Here,
but it would still be. I guess. I mean, the polling. I don't know what the polling exactly numbers are as of today, but it's 10 plus. I mean, it's double digit Republicans. So, I mean, if we did wake up Tuesday to even a status quo, come on, man. That is so much more blatant corruption than even what happened inside of Scotland. That I don't know. It's almost as if the powers that be are trying to instigate riots. They're trying to instigate.
I'm just reading into this. Two other Maryland voters reported the same issue Friday in Anne Arundel County. A Diebold touchscreen voting machine switched their Republican votes to Democrats, Watchdog.org reported. So just shenanigans. I mean, you're getting – there's always been shenanigans in voting, and I guess you could only stuff the ballot box so much. Back in the back in even, I don't know, did you hear Obama joking about Chicago and vote rigging? He was just chucking it up at this He was speaking at one of the colleges just like last week. Anyway, that
I missed it.
Got a little play. It's no big deal. I mean, he's just like, back in the day when we didn't, have accountable voting. But this is just one microcosmic, small example of, votes being stolen by debold machines. So,
right.
I mean, I think
I thought you had a story. I thought you had a story about. I mean, is that the one you're referring to up on your website about?
Yeah.
About that, okay. The calibration,
the calibration. It's just a little problem. Sorry, and I don't understand that. I mean, what do you mean calibrating the screen, the touch screen? Where you put your finger. I don't know.
You got to make upside down, right side up, and black, white, and you got to go through the looking glass of debold, so that when you make a vote for a Republican, it's changed to Democrat. Right.
Yep. So probably more of the same, though. Regardless of what happens there, we're going to have more of the same. Hey,
absolutely.
So did you go hunting today?
I did go hunting today. I spent the night last night. Like I said, I took my son over to my sister and brother-in-law's house, and we spent the night there. And we got up at, I don't even know, 5 a.m, I guess. Actually, what is it? We went back an hour. Whatever. I got up before dawn, and we took a ride up into the hills. And what's really, I mean, it was a good day, but what's really unfortunate is the continuing respiratory issues means that I'm the now drop off and pickup guy, right? I'll take him to the top of the mountain, and then I'll drive a 5-mile loop and pick him up at the bottom of the mountain. But it was still a good time. I mean, there wasn't a lot of animals. We only saw a couple of mule deer and some elk way far off, but it was nice just to hang out with the kid all day long and the brother-in-law. So it was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
No shooting. No, I did take the Doomer rifle with me, and I was able to go for about a mile walk with it with my kid. And everybody who's followed the videos and Craig definitely knows what I'm talking about when I say the Doomer rifle, the converted Ruger 308. So it was a good time.
Oh, that's good. I was hoping to hear something about some, wild animal that you were eating tonight, and that's why you were a little bit late. Well, and, whatever. Well.
Yeah, no, I saw more hunters than I did game.
So how does this? I mean, is this a public land? How does it work in Montana?
Well, Montana's, if you look at a map of public lands in states, we're still a state that has a lot of public land. Forest Service, unfortunately, a lot of BLM. But a lot of state land so where I live, there's several national forests that you can just, cross the border into national forest or BLM or state land and go hunting. So it's not that way in a lot of states. You're paying a lot of money to go hunt on somebody's land. So we're still fortunate here that there's, still thousands or millions of acres of public land to go hunt on.
Yeah, you just keyed me in when you said you saw other hunters. I'm like, well, did you know these people? Because here in Texas, I mean, I imagine you can go to public lands. I mean, there's a lot of those, but it would probably be desert. Out towards West Texas. That's the only thing I can think of public lands. But here, it's mostly private property, privately owned ranches that you would.
Yeah, and
on.
What's interesting about that, what's disgusting about that, is it never used to be that way. There was public lands in every state that were held for the public to enjoy. And we took a ride into this area. It's called the Dry Mountain area today. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been up there in probably close to 10 years. And my brother-in-law hunts up there every year. And when we were driving in there, I noticed that, it used to be about a 10-mile drive in there, and the first the first mile or so had houses and private property. And then it was all, bam, you were on BLM and then Forest Service. But the sell-off of public land is incredible. I mean, it's like tripled in density of private property now. So that encroachment's happening here, the sell-off of public land to private corporations so they can build, projects and houses on them and sell them.
Will they sell it to private individuals?
No, most of the time it goes to like investment companies, but I shouldn't say no, never. But there are some that are just blocks that are sold off.
Right.
But our lands are not supposed to be revenue generating instruments for the state or the Fed. These are supposed to be public lands. I mean, your kid should be able to go, enjoy some public land in Texas somewhere. But it's getting to the point where,
well, yeah, I mean, we have parks, and I think that they let people go and hunt in some of those parks and recreational areas, and you can go fishing. I know that. Yeah. So there is some game, and I've never done that.
The size of your state is so immense, that it should be. I mean, it's a crime that you have to, if you want to go duck hunting in Texas, you're probably going to get to pay somebody to go onto their land and, shoot a duck or shoot a white-tailed deer or something like that. And, that's disgusting to me.
Is that better than the state owning it, though? I mean, private property, you actually being able to let people hunt on it and control and manage the land. Do you think that the people are doing that better as individuals than, say, the BLM is? Because I would think that there's a lot of doomers out there that might be with me and think, well, private landowners in most cases, and I'm sorry, anarchists out there, I think in most cases that it's better when private individuals own land and will take better care of it than the state will, because it's just they're more personally vested in it. But it's not always the case. But
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. And maybe it's because I know a lot of Forest Service people, because I live in Montana and we have vast, timber resources, and the way that the Forest Service here, manages this timber. Now, there's some things that are just ridiculous, like the beetle kill situation that, excuse me, that ran through the West and Canada, and their rules on harvesting. I mean, so some of that stuff it would be better off run by private mills or private timber industry corporations, but. For the most part, I think that when you start putting a for-profit on this land that's supposed to be public, then inevitably it's going to be out of reach for a lot of people. So I don't believe it. I mean, I think it's a big country and there's a lot of land, and I know that there's political interest in selling off some of this land for financial gain. And I think that once it's all gone and you're paying somebody $50 a hunting trip, then all of a sudden it becomes unaffordable to a large segment of the country. I don't know, and it's the way it's going, Owen.
Yeah. I mean, hunting in Texas, you hunt on private property pretty much, and if it's not yours, then you're going to pay somebody to go onto their land and hunt, unless you have friends. I've got a guy who lives about 50 miles south of where I'm at, and he has plenty of hogs and plenty of. You have to get tags here, so you can only shoot.
Aren't they running rampant? Aren't hogs rampant in Texas?
Rampant. They're a big problem. Big problem.
Are they good eating the wild variety?
Yeah, they're okay. They're really gamey, but just like anything that's gamey, you can ungame it. You can
wrap it in bacon.
Wrap it in bacon. You can smoke it. You can smother it and let it soak in buttermilk. There's a lot of different things that you can do with hog. But they're all right. They're not too bad. Have
you ever shot a hog or stabbed a hog or whatever they do with them?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
really?
I've never stabbed one, but I've shot several.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah. I've got a 30-06. I use that big bastard.
Tip that big boar over.
Oh yeah, you better hit him though. But I always do carry a knife as a backup. And yeah, I could slit his throat, and you can pretty much. I mean, if you get run over by him, but I've just never gotten that situation. Some people grab. I mean, a lot of people hunt with pit bulls. There's even some TV shows where people hunt with these pit bulls and several other breeds of dogs, and they get down there and they wrap them. They want to get them alive. So, but if you get a bunch of them running at you, really, really, really big ones, they can definitely hurt you.
They're known as one of the most aggressive. Game animals that you can, or dangerous even, that you can go after.
I mean, I don't know how many people in the United States die every year from trying to, hunt down boars or, feral pigs, but I'd say at least probably one or two idiots a year probably get killed.
Well, it's a vibrato. What am I saying the word right there?
Verboten?
No, manly. Vibrato.
Bravado.
Bravado. Thank you. It's a bravado thing to they do hunts with spears and knives and crap. You know, the dog will corner them and then they'll go in and stab them with a knife or a spear. And to me, that's just crazy. I mean, I wouldn't want to do that with a deer, you know, hoof in the face.
You know, I guess it's like bow fishing or anything else like that. You ever go bow fishing? You ever been a bow? Get you a big old Zebco, go fishing for alligator gar.
Have you done that?
Oh, yeah. That's good stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, you can get those alligator gars. The Japanese love them. They look like big dragons. They look like they...
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah. For the listeners out there, they're really ugly. And they pay big money for those freshwater alligator gars now.
They get huge, right? I mean, they get like 6 feet long.
6-7 feet long, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically you've got this, it's like a Zebco fishing reel, and it's on a bow, and you've got an arrow, and it's tied to a string that is tied to the reel, and you hit them with the bow, and then it's a big O Zebco 770s, whatever the 550, whatever the hell they are, the big daddies, you know, for
big fat
coastal
ocean going style.
Yeah, the coastal style. So
right.
You can do that. I've done it before. I've reeled in a few, but it's just like, what do you do with it? You usually
you don't eat them?
Oh no. There are people here in Texas that like to eat them, and a lot of times if you're out like on a lake, you'll find somebody who's interested, or other people that would love to take it from you. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that gar. I'm like, okay, enjoy, and I will see you later.
Gar gumbo. Yeah, they look to me like kind of like a northern pike. You know, they're long and but I love pike, and I love, you know, those white meat type fish. But I've never talked to anybody that's eaten a gar before. But I know that they have like vicious looking crocodile or, you know, alligator looking teeth. Mm-hmm. And will they not bite regular bait? Is that why you got to shoot them with an arrow, or will they just bite right through the line?
They're bottom feeders, so they don't really care for a lot of bait. I don't think. That's why people usually shoot them. I mean, you can catch them. A lot of people use hooks. So, you know, to be quite honest, I don't know what the hell they eat. I think that they're bottom feeders, but I've never seen anybody catch them with bait. You know, you can catch catfish with stink bait and, you know, dog food, whatever.
It's probably just funner to shoot them with an arrow.
That's half of it. That's half of it right there, because you're, you know, on a boat and you've got lights and you're, you know, it's nighttime and, you know, you're probably, you know, 3 or 4 beers in, and you got a generator on the boat. My buddy almost electrocuted himself. He's like, I'm like, stop touching the generator. He's like, this thing. He just had the wire rigged around it and had two like these construction lights. You know, you see construction site. We were using those, and So anyway,
tracks him to the surface. And you shoot him with an arrow, and fire up the Zebco. Well, that sounds fun. It sounds like a fun experience. But ours is, you know, when it comes to extreme fishing here, it's mid-February ice fishing. You know,
see, that's extreme. I would never do that. It's like noodling. I would never do that. I would never.
I love it though. I know it's. I mean, sometimes it's 40 below zero, and you're out there in a little ice hut, but it's just fun. It's fun to catch a fish through the ice. I don't know why. We've done some spearing too, where you cut like a 4 foot by 4 foot hole in the ice, and you stand there with a spear, and you have a little decoy looking fish swimming around in a circle down 10 feet in the hole, and you wait for a pike to come in, and you shove a spear in him.
Yeah,
a trident.
That'd be weird. I mean, I've seen the grumpy old men, and you know, watching them go and ice fish, and it just seems foreign to me. Pretty foreign idea of that.
So to shooting fish with a bow, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of redneck crazy too. But see, I mean, but that is different. I mean, that is exciting because you're looking down there, you're looking for the shadows, you got polarized glasses, you're trying to see this prehistoric dinosaur thing that you're going to shoot. Yeah. Good chance you shoot it and you don't even kill it because it's just that big and crazy.
Yeah, well, it's the same. I mean, that's the exact same thing as spearfishing. You're sitting there, you know, in a blacked out hut, looking down into a big giant ice hole, waiting for a big pike to come rolling in there. But I don't know, different strokes for different folks. I guess it's all entertainment.
Yeah, we just don't have that here. So there's no frozen lakes for you to go hang out on ever.
Probably not very many in Texas.
Probably not very many. So do you want to talk about voices in your brain, Apple or Silicon Valley?
I want to talk about Silicon Valley because I'm not up to speed on that one, so go.
All right, so you know about Omidyar. He has this funded candidate, this chick that I shouldn't say that, sounds so misogynist. This lady who he put in power in the Ukrainian parliament. He co-funded with USAID a few of these non-governmental organizations. One of them, New Citizen, the other Chesno, and Center UA. According to the Financial Times, not the Conspiracy Planet website, and spent a few $100,000. He played a big role in getting the Maidan protest up and running. So he was an operator who paid, for some of the cookies that Victoria Nuland was giving out and the rest. Yeah. So, it's pretty, interesting. Her name is, by the way, I had it. She and her, let's see if I can even say it. It's Svitlana Zalezhnuk. Here, try to. I'm going to give it to you. You give it your best and see what you.
Because the RT interviews, I should be able to figure this out.
Yeah. Aren't you a Russian spy like the rest of them?
Yeah, it must be. Svitlana Zalishyak. Zalishyak.
Zvitlana.
Zvidana Zalishyak. Now, dang it. Svitlana Zalishyak.
Right.
What about her?
This is the lady that Omidyar. He's the guy that is bankrolling Glenn Greenwald. He runs The Intercept. He's the eBay mogul. He's actually spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to help during the Euro Maiden or the push.
To get it rolling.
Right. And he's been funding these nonprofits, mainly the Chesno and the New Citizen front groups, and has been real close with orchestrating this deal with the Chocolate King Poroshenko. Right. So, operator on the ground, and it's very interesting that he has this tie to the Intercept. He now owns the Intercept, and so you're familiar with Matt Taibbi, right?
Yes.
You used to write for Rolling Stone.
I thought it was Taibbi.
It's Taibbi, really.
Taibbi.
I always say Taibbi. It's Taibbi.
And he's gone now.
Right. And, well, this is pretty unprecedented. I've never seen this happen at any real media organization, but Jeremy Scahill, Laura Poitras, Glenn Greenwald, and John Cook all got together and they wrote this article basically calling him a misogynist and a sexist and being anti-female and,
Matt Taibbi?
Yeah, Taibbi.
Yeah. Taibbi?
Yes, yeah, Svitlana.
None of that. This building of this so-called, I'm doing air quotes, independent media empire, you and I talked about for quite some time now, and the connection with Eastern Europe. It's not. It's corrupt at core, but it's not really surprising. I did see one of. Do you think that the die is cast for Eastern Europe? Is it now just a corporate special interest, or do you think there's going to be, crow for me to be eating? Because I don't think it's over. I don't think the Russian-Ukraine or the Russian Western conflict or situation is over by a long shot. I think it's on hiatus for a minute, but barely.
Well, they had the elections, and guess what? They've really done their best to make the Lugansk and Slovansk separatist areas and regions and people there that are, I guess, occupying government buildings on the behest of Vladimir Putin and, all of that.
Yeah.
And basically they hate Jews. They want to kill gays. I don't know if you've been hearing about this, but they're having their own vote. So basically 3 million Ukrainians didn't vote in these elections, will not be represented in the elections that Pierre Omidyar's darling, amongst other Western friendlies, are now occupying. So what happens there? The ethnic cleansing that's going on a daily basis, and the fighting on the ground.
The Donetsk and Luhansk regions.
Right. Untold numbers of people.
It's not being. It's not being reported. It's completely untold and off the radar.
But it seems that there's at least a dying down. I don't know if it's just because, for the elections to try to bring a little bit of stability. We haven't seen a lot of terrorism other than, the obvious being
ISIL.
Well, no, I mean from these break-off regions, in Kiev. So.
Yeah, you got to show with billions of U.S. dollars and scores of quasi-government agency programs and influence to destabilize and overturn Ukraine, and the support of the Chocolate King, and now military weaponry flowing in. With all that, I mean, I think it's important that the powers that be are trying to show some signs of stability for all this investment. But I think you're right; it's not stable. It's a powder keg. I even saw Yuri Beriza, who was one of the original members of the volunteer battalions that go in and wipe out the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. He is saying that they're ready to commit terrorist acts inside of Russia. They're ready to go across the border into Russia. He was actually on an RT interview, and they had to cut it because he started going down this path of, speaking on behalf of himself and the volunteer battalion. They're ready to go across the border and start blowing crap up. So it's still, and I think we'll see it come back to the forefront probably after the midterms. I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is done by a long shot, unless they just bury this ethnic cleansing, as you say. And another thing that's funny is that this comparison of anti-Jew, anti-gay. That's exactly right. That's exactly who we helped get into power in Kiev. So it's quite ironic, it's that 180 of reality.
Sure.
It's like the voting machines in Maryland. You got to put it through the looking glass in order to find the truth.
Right. Yeah, and it's just so obvious. And I think that even the people there, I mean, there's a lot of protests that are happening. Even the pro-Western, pro-European people are probably pretty pissed off. So I don't know what's going to happen. Ultimately, I think at some point the U.S., i.e. the Kiev government, will decide to probably redefine or it will have something like Crimea, where the Russians recognize it, nobody else does. These regions, they're always going to say that these have been annexed or stolen by the kleptocrat Putin, and that he's trying to rebuild his new empire. He gave a big speech just a few days ago. The Western world and all of those that can understand him were really, really impressed with some of the stuff that he was saying. And I tell you what, man, I'm not a Russian sympathizer. I know that they're the bad guys. They are the enemy, and to side or to say, well, the enemy has a point here is pretty dangerous in these times. But I mean, no doubt. He was just laying it out, saying that the U.S. is, basically fomenting terrorism, that we're basically a bunch of knuckleheads that keep giving guns to the wrong people, to terrorists and the like, and that the New World Order is taking shape, and that the allies of the U.S., their own allies, we spy on. And I mean, he really, really laid it all out there, and what he's trying to accomplish, and that's to bring out more trade through the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, through the BRICS, with a new rival to the IMF, which just I think came into existence last week, the new China Investment Bank, and some of these other institutions, and creating their own banking system, and going outside of the petrodollar, and all of the rest, all of the other things that I think most of the listeners have been noting for years. The problems with Western policy, and
it's interesting because it's not. It's I caught tidbits of that speech. I read some of it, and it's really not. I don't think it's that new. I mean, it was very interesting, but it seems that Russia, and what I mean that is like the last several years, they've been talking about this stuff that is conspiracy in the West. Basically, RT, that's its foundation. I mean, you go look on there and you see a lot of the things that you'll see in independent media here, what used to be conspiratorial media here. I think Russia has been talking about it for quite some time. And I think, a lot of the world sees it. We don't get that. We get the canned six corporation, 90% of the news media, and everything else is either, they're either anti-American, or they're the enemy, or they're would-be terrorists, or they're just wackos.
Well, we do propaganda better than they do. That's all there is to it. I mean, if you look at RT, here's a perfect example. Russia is looking at cracking down on foreign ownership of media. Same thing in Venezuela. It's the U.S. Jewish controlled run media that is stirring up trouble. That's their words, not mine. But U.S. media, foreign ownership, and one of the things that the U.S. does really well is they spend money to fund Sesame Street and all sorts of other things, around the world, all these other shows. But they just do it better. People want U.S. shows. They want U.S. movies. They want U.S. propaganda. When you look at the U.S., they're not going to shut down RT or Press TV. They don't care that it's on the internet or even on your TV station. Right. It doesn't bother them a bit because the U.S. just does it better. They know it. They know that they are king of the hill when it comes to it.
Absolutely. If you can create a condition where 310 million people are witness to their nation, being ripped apart, and the ability to convince the majority of them that it's a 1 or 2 issue reason why, and that there's a blue and red team, and there's a right and a left, and a conservative and a liberal agenda, that if you just back one of them, you're going to make everything better. If you can convince a nation that is so far $18 trillion in debt that's public, and the corruption of the financial industry that's going global, if you can convince them to pay attention to 1 or 2 little things, well, you don't have to worry about RT or Press TV or Al Jazeera or anything else. In fact, you could probably do a good job of using it to your advantage to promote some kind of patriotic fervor that's ill-placed.
Yeah. You mentioned the drug trade and the government being behind it, and
I did.
I think you did, or that in Afghanistan we were talking about the opium, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Citizens for Legitimate Government, CLG.gov or CLG.org, maybe it is. Just look up Citizens for Legitimate Government.
I'm looking at it right now.
They had a link to a memory hole article from Bloomberg, and you'll like the headline here. Al-Qaeda backers found with U.S. contracts in Afghanistan. Supporters of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan have been getting U.S. military contracts, and American officials are citing, quote, due process rights as a reason not to cancel the agreements, according to an independent agency monitoring spending. Okay, so just think about this for a moment. The government is giving money to Al-Qaeda through U.S. contracts. When you say, well, should we be giving the enemy money? They say, well, we got to be fair. It's part of due process. It's so ridiculous. Due process. The government is worried about due process. But anyway, this is from 2013, July 29th. The U.S. Army suspension and Department Office has declined to act in 43 cases, according to John Sopko, Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction, he said in a letter accompanying a quarterly report to Congress. So Congress is aware, if they actually showed up or cared. Quote, I'm deeply troubled that the U.S. military can pursue, attack, and even kill terrorists and their supporters, but that some in the U.S. government believe we cannot prevent these same people from receiving a government contract. Now, I can't get a government contract. You probably couldn't get a government contract, or maybe we could. Maybe we could.
I don't know. Maybe we should apply. Maybe we should apply and just be more radical.
Al-Qaeda? Now, when you go into crazy land, when you start talking about, well, maybe ISIS is funded by the U.S. government. Maybe ISIS is working at the behest of the Israelis because they're not going after the Israelis, and it seems that if there's anybody that you would want to go jihad against, it would be them. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. Immediately, you become a conspiracy theorist, and you might as well have this playing in the background behind when you talk. So,
well, I don't even know where the question is there. I mean, you talk about ISIS and ISIL and who supported him, and the government paying off contracts to Al-Qaeda. I mean, come on. There's no question that ISIL, ISIS,
Durka,
IS,
Durka,
whatever.
Muhammad Jihad.
Yeah, when you have McCain photographed with the top leaders of it, when you know for a fact that we've sent arms and money to the core groups that made it up, absolutely, we're still sending money over there. There's no doubt that we're behind this. There's if that sounds like a conspiratorial statement, then you're not checking your facts. You're not looking at the reality of how this group came to be. You're not checking your facts and seeing the reality of how Al-Qaeda came to be. I mean, we are creating this war on terror to be permanent and forever. And it's going to run in perpetuity, and it's always going to be a bad guy and a boogeyman in the closet. And it's always going to be a way to cajole and create guilt and fear in our minds in order to keep it going. And there will be no stop on this. It doesn't matter for how broke we are. Like I said, we're 18 trillion in debt. It doesn't matter, how many people can't find a good job or how wages are falling in this country. We have to prosecute the war on terror. And once it leads.
Oh yeah, you said the war on terror. I'm sorry, the eagle gets excited about that.
Yeah, and we're going to expand it. I mean, that's why we're seeing so much, crap going on in Eastern Europe right now. It's going to be Orwellian. It's going to be a brave new world. I mean, that's where we're heading into, Doug Owen.
Mm-hmm. Saudi Arabia, by the way, carried out its 61st execution in 2014. Nobody cares about that too much because, well,
They're our partner.
They're a partner in, I don't know, suppressing oil prices. People, I just can't believe it. I'm eating crow. Okay, I said that oil and gas prices would never go down. You want to hear the crow?
I do.
I have to eat crow. I've said it before. Yeah, because, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, oil is never going to go under $100 a barrel ever again. You might as well get used to $15 a gallon gas and only rich people, and you'll all be, along with me, forced onto public transit, and the Amtrak guy is going to be listening to you, recording you, and
When did you make that? How long ago? 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
4 years ago, yeah. When we just saw this huge shoot up in price, and it was just crippling truck drivers, independent businesses. It was making. Well, it was one of the things I think that was at the time being used as a way to disguise inflation. The reason that you're paying more at Walmart for your, I don't know, Cheetos that they're stealing, one by one out of the bag without your knowledge, just giving you smaller bags that are more puffed up, and all the other bull crap tricks that they are using.
Cheeto thieving bastards.
Yeah, it's just a scam. I mean, so many of these things are scams, and it's one scam to kind of hide the fact that the other scam's not working so well. It's like, oh, well, yeah, go to a store, and I'm going to give the old man rant. Go to a store and try to buy a soda water. Not that you should. It's going to probably, make your DNA cells break down. And I don't know if you saw that article about drinking soda water, how it literally, breaks you down. It's so bad.
I did.
But anyway,
it's a tonic.
I mean, it's $2 for a soda water. You're like, oh, my God, really? You better have $10. I mean, I don't know how people are doing it on the wages that they get paid.
I don't either, and I don't get it, because we deal with a lot of international shipping, like sea freight, container freight, and go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I realize it's because they're buying that with their J.P. Morgan chip and PIN cards now. They're new, they're for the most part, and that's where the inflation really kind of hits the taxpayer, because people that shop at stop and goes and the like, the neighborhood store are usually poorer or don't have vehicles. They're more apt to shop there and pay 3, 4, 5 times what they should for a product that they could buy in bulk at Costco or something else.
Right.
So that those kind of things, payday loans, all those things really do prey on the people that are
wholeheartedly agree, 100%. That's everywhere. You see that everywhere, where people are living. I mean, that's beyond paycheck to paycheck.
I had a buddy. His dad owned one of those little grocery stores, a little convenience store, gas station, and he told me that when I was 11 years old. He goes, Doug, the only people that shop at convenience stores are poor people. Yeah. And it just was like, because we were kids and we went in there to buy bubble gum, or we were buying candy, and that's where you go and get your candy. That's where you get your selection.
Yeah, but you can't afford to go you drop $500 once a month at Costco because you never have that kind of money on hand.
Yeah. And I guess most kids are poor. You know, you're in there with, well, not anymore. You probably have a card. You probably have, but we used to have change and you could go get some candy. And if you found a quarter, you could get a couple pieces. Back in my day, children, when you could.
Yeah. No, I was trying to, I mean, I'm agreeing with your point that these, these places are set up for the people that are ultra poor. I mean, they're they got to walk to their convenience store and then they pay 3 times what a loaf of bread's worth because they've only got $5 in their pocket and you can't afford to go to Costco and load up once a month or to pay half as much or even a third as much to buy in bulk. And that's becoming, it's becoming more of a trend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or if you're a Department of Homeland Security employee, you can just get your Starbucks on your government credit card.
That's right.
$30,000 worth of Starbucks put on government credit cards. It doesn't surprise me. Actually, I'm more surprised that it was only $30,000.
So was I. I thought the same thing when I heard that. I thought, this $1 trillion, deficit spending government, and we're only 30 grand at the Starbucks. They're probably not getting their fair share.
Yeah, this isn't even, the liquor bill for Nancy Pelosi's private jet that is escorted by, 5 F-14s whenever she flies to, Rio for the weekend or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Holy
55.
crap.
Holy crap. I just looked at the clock. We're 55 minutes into it. Is that what you got?
Yeah, about that.
Well, and I told you at the beginning that, and Craig sent me a message that he got my text and understood it. And I didn't know if I wanted to talk about it with the Doom audience or not. But I decided I did because it's probably going to interfere at some point a little bit with the Doom Nation, and I might be asking Craig to sit in for me a couple times here and there with what I got coming up. And did you understand that, or did that kind of just blow past you?
I think that all blew past me. I'm sorry.
All right. That's all right. Not a big deal.
You wanted to explain it on the show anyway, so now you have a fresh perspective.
But now I do. So, and here we go into it. And it's long time in coming, but I sent a text, a pretty lengthy one, to you and Craig saying,
I'm looking right now.
Yeah, let's see. It was one of our group ones that we do. Mm-hmm. And it was talking about that that I had been referred to finally after like 3.5, 4 years of doing this asthma respiratory disease merry-go-round, which is, multiple doctors here locally, but no consensus between them. They don't ever sit down and roundtable it. They're just, bouncing it from one thing to another, and then good for a few months, then into attack mode, and then, ER visits and that kind of crap. I was finally referred to the number one respiratory hospital in the country, and it's in Denver. And within the next few weeks, I'll be going down there, and I'm extremely excited about going because it's, first of all, in talking to their staff, they're already it seems to be miles ahead of what I deal with now. But it's a board of 6 different disciplines, 6 different doctors who, they're evaluating me right now through my medical history, and they'll come up with a conclusion on, testing that hasn't been done that they want to get done, and then a treatment plan. But it's 6 different, like I said, 6 different disciplines all at once looking at this problem and getting it under control. And so tomorrow morning, in fact, I have an 1.5 hour long interview on the phone with this hospital, and it's going to be pretty lengthy in process getting set up to go. Once I go, I'll be there for probably a week, no more than a week. And that obviously during that week, I'm going to be completely, taken up by that event there. Hopefully after that, we have answers to what the heck's going on and a way to keep it under control. It's literally in the last 2 months grounded me to the point where, if it wasn't for the fact that I have the absolute, he's one of my best friends, but he's my boss as well. If I didn't have him for a boss, there's no way I'd still be in a job. I mean, I've missed, half the last 2 months worth of work. And he's completely understanding my situation. I think he was ready for me to go get some different, better kind of treatment help. But if it wasn't for that fact, I'd be totally screwed right now. But it's a long past due. I mean, something I should have done 6 months to a year ago is get out of here and go, to someplace major and try to get some kind of help for this condition, because it's debilitating at best.
Yeah, it could be lethal at worst.
It absolutely could be lethal. I mean, there's been several, 2 or 3 occasions.
See, I thought you were going to tell me that you're going to have to break up with your girlfriend, that she dumped you because she was dooming and it was too, tired of you talking to me.
No, it's funny. I mean, this hospital happens to be in Denver where she's at, so I'm lucky in that respect. I can stay with her.
Yeah.
No. She's almost. I mean, she is so freaking awesome. It's unbelievable. She went from the building industry to being most of the way done towards her RN, and then she's going to go on to her nurse practitioner degree. But she is, I was worried when she first picked the medical field or a healthcare professional, because I didn't know, I'm like, where did you come up with that? You're going to go from, building industry to healthcare, but she is so into it. It's unbelievable. And what she's learning about, my condition is even unbelievable. So no, she's not going anywhere.
All right, that's good. All right, did we get any donations? I know that you had a few you wanted to bring up. Kowalski gave us $20. I think he's on the monthly donation plan. If you go to doomcast.com/support, you can go there through several portals. We have WePay, which is an alternate to, it's very straightforward, to PayPal, which you can sign up for monthly donation.
It's not for little people, we people?
No, not we little people, just we pay. We and yeah, we have PayPal, of course. It's easy. People feel secure in it. We can take Bitcoin, which I think it was $3.66. It's going down, but it doesn't really matter because you could still transfer. And that's one of the really one of the things that we didn't get to was Silicon Valley, because we have other stuff. It's just
go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, just looking at. I was reading a guy's website, and he was commenting and talking about Bitcoin. Said, well, anything that has doesn't have central planners, grubby little hands on it and manipulating it, we should give it a try. It's worth a try. And I just thought about it, and it's not a positive or negative or thing, but it's just that we trust more in algorithms, people that might not even understand, the bit chain. And hello, I'm raising my hand right now. I don't really fully understand it. People are willing to give that more of a try or believe it more than, the Federal Reserve or other state governments, and trust in something that, is virtual rather than in paper because of central planning and what has happened and with fiat currencies throughout history. Yeah. And I just thought it was kind of interesting that we're at a point where I saw this other article that said that, and I don't know how true it is, but people are more willing to listen to a robot than to a human. And it's because you feel it's more fair, equitable, that the robot's going to make a good, fair decision. It's not because they have a crush on one of the employees, or they have favoritism, or they're racist towards you because you're a certain persuasion or color.
And how many, Doug, I don't think you should feel... raise your hand because you don't understand Bitcoin. How many people really think do?
I mean, other than people that are, aficionados and enthusiasts, I would say pretty few. Less than 1% of the population in the United States. So it's not to disparage Bitcoin. We actually accept Bitcoin, and if you have Bitcoin, we love it and we use it, and so please do contribute to it. If you're investing in it, you might. You're seeing that buying potential or power go down a little bit, but to transfer money from dollars to Bitcoin, during that moment, you don't lose at the transaction. But anyway, I mean, supporting that's one of the things I thought was really interesting, is that people will support a currency that's digital, that's an algorithm, or that is
completely not understood. I mean, even to me, even less understood than fiat currency, Doug.
It just seems like it has less. I mean, for a lot of people, I think that are enthusiasts, it seems like it has less evil attached to it. That it's more ethical, or that it's more viable than the dollar or some other central bank created currency or privately created. And then you get into credit cards and the creation of money through debt, right. And anyway, there's some other stuff I was going to get into, Apple Pay, and that whole row, what's happening with all of these new currencies. But yeah, so we accept them. Did you?
I've got Kyle B. Was 8888.
Kyle, the man, 8888. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Cool. Let me see if we got a message with that. And then the other one before that was Sarah Kay, of course, with her continued monthly. Yay, Sarah! By the way, Sarah, I will be. Let's see, probably January, February or March. All goes well in Denver. I will be back in Lincoln, so I definitely want to take you and your hubby out for a either a drink or a dinner or something. So make sure you message me.
Buy one for her and him on me with your PayPal money.
I will do it.
All
but that's it. It's been pretty lean the last couple of weeks, but I think that unfortunately putting on a Sunday show is not the best thing that we could do, but hopefully we can get better at doing that.
I don't know. I mean, you're wrapping up the whole week. We've had a pretty good.
I want to do a Wednesday. I want to do a Wednesday one for sure this week, Doug Owen. I don't know what I haven't talked to you. I don't know what your schedule's like, but with Tuesday night, I'll probably be monitoring that crap all night long. Just a sycophant when it comes to that, kind of political news.
Right.
But I definitely want to do a program on Wednesday.
Little political analysis.
Yeah.
From our
definitely.
analyst, Charlie McGrath, breaking it down. Yeah, we can do that for sure. Yeah, I didn't even get to do the Blacklisted Radio podcast. I feel bad about it. I wanted to do it, and my wife and my kid, blah, 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 all that stuff in the weekend.
Halloween, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, and this week, painting the Doomcast studio so that it feels a little more open and a little less crazy for some of you, the insiders that have, seen the studio, Craig, and I put pictures actually on the website of it, and you've seen it before. It was just green on green striped craziness.
It was a green nightmare.
That was part of the house had this one room that ended up being the studio that was just crazily painted. The guy that I bought it from said that the whole house was like that. Lime green, dark green stripes. Very well done. Probably took somebody, 40, 50 hours. The lines were straight, but it felt like you were basically in a bubblegum wrapper, or you just felt weird.
Well, it translated on Skype, kind of like I don't even know, guacamole almost.
Yeah. It looked like a big my buddy said, you might as well paint the ceiling red because it feels like you're in a freaking watermelon. I'm like, yeah, it kind of felt like
exactly.
that. So.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it looks good. You sent pictures out to me and Craig. I saw those, so it looks good.
Yeah, Craig immediately noticed the baby mobile. He's like, "Aha! Look at the baby toys." I'm like, "Yeah, well,
gotta have a room for the kid."
Yeah, well, he's got a room. He doesn't have to live in the studio, thank God. But
gotta hang out with you sometimes when you're on air, Dad.
Oh yeah, no, well, not when I'm on air, but when I'm in here doing work and other things. Well, the other stuff that does not translate into this 1 hour show, or actually it does, but most people probably would not. Care that how much time and effort I put into making these notes, and spare me. Really, Craig spends so much time doing the table of contents, which is invaluable. And so, if you check out Charlie's page, so please consider us when you are thinking about the Christmas season and supporting alternative media. We're not like Vice, which is now. I saw this. This is a big one I wanted to get to, but. Vice is getting bigger than you can imagine. Let me see. They're saying that the company is ultimately worth over $1 billion now. And, Shane Smith, the owner, or at least frontman, let me see, Vice, V-I-C-E. Vice, the valuation, I always go conservative. $2.5 billion valuation. which is high for any kind of a tech company, virtually unheard of for a media company. New York Times, Washington Post, even USA Today, Forbes, Financial Times. I mean, you think about a media organization, there's just not one that's even close to $2.5 billion. Now, that's, what he would like to see, but they're going to be bringing in, they say, in 2016, $1 billion in revenue annually. Just think about that.
I'm thinking about it. And you know what? You and I have talked about Vice before. I know that there's, I know it's not organic, but it is very, very compelling. It's a very, very compelling site.
Well, there's lots of great people that write for it, and that's why it's so popular.
Right.
Yeah. And so the question always becomes, what are you going to be allowed to, once this gets so big, what are you going to be able to do? Are you going to have to run everything by the editor? If you have any kind of corporate expose, and it's just like a Meteors group, The Intercept, started looking at more and more of these editorial issues and problems and conflict, and you start getting
it has
people
to
that
happen.
are involved in your writing and what you're doing, and trying to make sure that everything that you're doing, A, is vetted so you don't get sued, and B, doesn't have a conflict with one of their corporate sponsors, aka why we don't have them, why we don't take money from corporations, we don't sell you things, even if we think they're great, even if we think you should buy gold or seeds or something else that will help you.
Or Doomer rifles, which I do think you should buy.
Doom rifles, or if you go to blacklistednation.com, you can buy a shirt, and we get a small portion of the proceeds. But if you think it's cool that we are not compromised and uncompromisable, and we use this model to ensure that, then please do support us. I mean, we've looked at things like paid models. There's a guy that I'm a pretty big fan of. He's an anarchist, and his name is Larkin Rose. He's done a lot of great video. Yeah, Larkin Rose. So he's moved to this thing called ConnectPal, where people pay to get to their profile page, and he can upload video and audio, and basically you pay a monthly fee, which it's an option. I think about it, and I'm looking at it, and I signed up with it just to see and think about what we could do with that, and if that would be something that would seem to be a good balance where people could interact more, connect with the show, and you and I on a more personal level, which is cool. But at the same time, if we're having people that donate $20, if we're charging $4 a month, we're losing there. And how many people do you need to get a few $100s? We're not looking for $1 billion worth of revenue in 2015, but
well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm going back to 9/20 now. I mean, it's 11/2 right now, but to 9/20. Christopher A., Michael M., Axel R., Matthew G., Sarah K., Kyle B. These are donations since September. I can't thank these guys enough, because most of them are reoccurring, and most of them are very, very supportive of the program, and it's incredibly important. Like I said, like Doug said, we're not getting rich off this, but it is incredibly important to see this support. There's a lot of projects that I let go by the wayside until videos are one of them. Poor Jeff Rentz. I mean, he hasn't. He's getting guest hosts now for quite some time, and he's going to continue to get him for a while. Until after this whole Denver deal is done and over with. But
it takes time, and that's just something that we have less and less of. And if
what keeps me coming back is I know that this program is supported. Not just financially, but also I make sure that in the last 64 weeks you've had one program where you weren't here, one program where I wasn't here, and so. Whatever it takes, I try to make sure, and you try to make sure. Here it is Sunday night. It's 8:40, almost 9 o'clock in Texas, and you're on the phone with me, and I'm finish a day of spending with my son hunting, and we put this together because we want to make sure that we get it done. So, and the reason is because of these people that tune in every single week and notice when we're not here, and and are financially contributing to us. So this will continue.
It's important that it means something to other people too, and that we can continue to reach out. And I think that's why we keep it free, so that way we can expand it. And all of those out there, you listening that have continued to drop this show into other people's laps, and
we thank you and love you.
We thank you, we love you, and consider us. Consider a small financial contribution to something that is different, and you'll get something different. You'll get something besides the same old. You'll get, you'll get.
You might get mad. You might get mad sometimes,
but you won't get sold on stuff. We're not going to spend 2 hours telling you about why you need to buy some new revolutionary product. We're not going to sit here and give you stories curtailed to trying to get you to buy a product. And really what it comes down to is people are wasting your time, and that's what we don't want to be doing. We don't want to waste our time. You don't want to have your time wasted. Your time is just as valuable as ours, if not probably more. And it's an imperative for us to not waste your time with a bunch of
bull
crap, native advertisements, and other things that are geared towards going to our gear store to buy things that you may or may not need. It's not that there might not be great U.S. made products. It's that you're wasting your time.
We don't want to do that with this hour once a week. We want to engage. We want to engage with the people that are downloading it every week and listening every week, and notice when it's not there. So,
right.
I want to hear Durka Durka one more time, and then I'll wrap it up.
Oh, well, I
see how fast you are.
Durka Durka, Muhammad Jihad.
My name is Charlie McGrath. My website is wideawakenews.com. If you want to contact me, info@wideawakenews.com. My co-founder, my friend, my
partner,
my buddy in Doom,
yes.
Doug Owen, his website is blacklistednews.com. You can contact him at doug@blacklistednews.com. Our website is doomcast.com. Anything else, Doug?
No, that's it. Until next time, take care.
Peace out. Tell the fam I said hello.
I shall, and you do the same.